soon to be our 100th mayor, First Woman Mayor, Cherelle Parker.
Let me just start by saying good evening to each of you, to Mike and the entire PECO team. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity. You know, when I started out in the primary election and I resigned from my job as a member of the City Council of Philadelphia, I'm a single working mom. And there were some people who thought that I was absolutely crazy. But we found an opportunity for me to get access to a consultant job, and as a result of that, I could pay my mortgage, I could pay my PECO bill, I could take care of myself. And when I got on the trail, I talked about this thing called workforce development and what it meant to me. And I talked about it being a primary tool for violence reduction in the city of Philadelphia. And for some people who never started where I started in life, I'm a product of very humble beginnings sometimes, and I make it my business to share the story about who I am and where I'm from. And although it irritates some people now, well, why do you always have to talk about that? Well, because people see you on television or they read about you, and they have this picture, right? Because I know how to make K&G look nice, right? I do. My grandmother's daughter, right? I put K&G together. But people don't know where you come from. My mother was a single teenage mother, got pregnant with me at the tender age of 15. My biological father was not a part of my life. I was raised by my grandmother and my grandfather. My grandfather was a physically disabled Navy veteran. He had a speech impediment. He stammered badly. After he retired from the Navy, honorable discharge, my grandfather was unable to work. My grandmother was what they called the domestic worker. This is a pretty youthful audience. You probably never even heard of a day's work or a domestic worker before, but it meant that my grandmother cleaned the houses of very wealthy people in order to take care of me. When we were on the campaign trail, I stood up during one of our forums, or debate night, and I told people I grew up on food stamps. And they were like, what you talking about, plastic? I said, plastic? A credit card? I'm talking about real food stamps, colored money in books, purple 20s, green 10s, and brown dollars. And they were like, oh, really? Like you? Yes, me. I talked about subsidized food. I talked about this cheese. And you would see people trying to be diplomatic. But they really didn't get it, because I talked about I would go to a church to get this subsidized cheese and butter because they gave that out, that we used it to eat, and my grandmother would make the best macaroni and cheese in the world out of that. Why did I share that story? So that folks could get that life for me ain't been no crystal stair. My life is a textbook case study on how you turn pain into power. That's why I got so excited last year when I came to the Infrastructure Academy, because when I looked out into the audience and I saw you, I thought about how many generations of families are going to have brand new expectations for them because of what you get connected to while you're here. Well, Cherelle, what do you mean? You get access to a job at PECO, at PGW, at one of the partners, the Hydrogen Hub. Thank you so very much. I talked about it on the campaign trail, working with the steam fitters, Jim Snell, Ryan Boyd, the building trades. Why is that so important, Cherelle? Everybody is not going to go the traditional route, right? And listen, sometimes that route is not the best route, because guess what? I'm going to be paying student loan debt until I'm dead. Ryan Boyd, head of the building trade, says to me all of the time, he said, you know how many plumbers, electricians, and carpenters and technicians earn more than you earn, triple your salary, and they have no student loan debt in order to do it. Those are the kind of opportunities that do what I call put people on a path to self-sufficiency. What does this mean? Nobody wants to do what my grandmother had to do for me. I don't know one person who wants to be in a house that they are just renting, aside from people who don't want to shovel snow and pick up leaves. Everybody should have access to the ability to own their own house, so that if they pass away, wouldn't it be nice, particularly in low moderate income communities or poor ones like I come from, wouldn't it be nice to be able to leave more than your funeral bills? Wouldn't it be nice to say, if something happens to me, my son, my daughter, my partner, my significant other, I left some real estate for them. That is how we will reduce violence here in the city of Philadelphia. I grew up doing something, and you all probably, for those of you, I'm hip-hop +1. Calculate that, but don't you dare say it out loud. I'm hip-hop +1. When I grew up, this thing called crack cocaine had come and drained life out of the neighborhood that I grew up in. I saw people get addicted to the substance, people where they had beautiful household, husband, wife, mom, father, even if it was a single mom or a single parent or grandparents like mine raising me, families were solid. All of a sudden, life got drained out of those communities. I immediately said to myself, if only we could get access to people to turn those skills. And when I talk about this and I talk about the people who got addicted, people usually only think I'm talking about the people who got addicted to the substance. It's not it. There was a whole nother group that got addicted to the underground economy, because that's the only way that they thought that they could make it, that they could own some property, they could drive a nice car, that they could provide for their families. They got really ingrained in that whole underground economy. And for many of them, a lot of them died. A lot of them got caught in the criminal justice system. I know I had relatives and people who were close to me who got caught up into it, and they spent, years, some of them decades of their lives away from their families, and now they're grown up and they're seeing some of their children, and it's 10 and it's 20 and it's 30 years later. But I've always been a big thinker, and I've always been a very hopeful person, and I've always done a really good job taking care of other people. So in my mind, when I was younger, I would think to myself, man, what if Kev, who is like the mastermind of all of this, what if Kev could take that skill set, and what if he could start his own company? What if the person who handled the money, what if they, put those skills to use and learned how to become proficient in accounting? What if they could put the skills that they use and put their lives on the line, really, in that underground economy? What if they put it to use to doing something else? What a great model they would have been, particularly for the next generation who was just trying to find a way to come up. And now, that era has passed, but guess what people are looking at now? This social media thing, y'all, it is addictive. The filters people use, the way that they can, my girlfriend told me, I haven't been on a vacation away like a grown person's vacation, and I don't know how long. My girlfriend said, well, if you want people to think you went away, she said, don't you know that I can put your picture and put something around you and people will think you in Jamaica? Guess what happens? Same kind of competition that occurred in the underground economy. People now trying to show an image. It doesn't matter whether or not it's real. They're trying to show an image to make you think that they're on top of something that doesn't even exist. And they will do anything for those who do get access to it. They will do anything to hold on to it. The Infrastructure Academy, this is real. It's the real thing. You take the instruction that you're getting. I believe, are they going to meet with the actual employers tomorrow? Are they going to meet?
Tomorrow night, yeah.
Tomorrow night?
Tonight.
And tonight? If y'all screw this shit up, y'all want to take this seriously? Act like this is another one of those things. This is not another one of those things. You look at people in their eyes, and you being authentic. Don't lie. Good, bad, or indifferent. Tell everybody the truth, because everybody got something. I know I do. Right? Ain't nobody perfect. Tell the truth about everything, but let them know why you're here and how committed you are. I'm here because I want to change my life. I'm here because I'm trying to make it better for the next generation of my family. And if you give me a chance to learn a particular skill or craft to earn a living wage, health care, a retirement security, you've given me a lifeline for myself and for the next generation. So when you leave here, last thing I'm going to say, somebody's going to leave here today. Because do they have to come back tomorrow too?
Yep.
I think the last time I was here was probably on the first day. And I remember saying last year, and I was really talking to myself. I really was. It was like therapy. I was really talking to myself. Because I knew how people were doubting me. And how they were telling me that you're never going to be able to, you won't ever win. You don't come from wealth. You're not going to be able to raise the money to compete with those rich people. All of that stuff was in the back of my mind. Somebody's going to leave here today, and you're going to go home, and you're going to tell somebody, hey, what you doing? Oh, I was down at PECO. I got connected to this thing called the Infrastructure Academy. I just went down for this meeting to see what it's about. Been there for a couple of days, supposed to meet some employers. I guarantee you, because it's the way life works, somebody's going to say, well, why are you there? Messing around with that bullshit. That's not going to be good for your life. Nothing's going to happen as a result of that. Why are you trying to do something different? What makes you think that's going to work for you? And if you are not strong enough, if you're like me, this is what I learned sometimes. Everything ain't for everybody. Some of it you can't even share. Some of it you can't even tell. So you don't give anybody a chance to try to beat down dreams that you have in your mind about what you want to do and where you want to go. So sometimes you got to just hold on to it. But if it's somebody that you share it with, make it somebody who you might be motivating and inspiring and encouraging in your own right. So when you leave here, promise me that you will not do what my girlfriends told me that I did a whole lot when I started. Doing something on the campaign trail, let's say I did it and maybe it was a little bit okay, and about 75% of the people said, you know what, we feel that. And it was another 25% who said, no, ain't feeling it. She just too intense, she talked too loud, she moved too much, I'm just not feeling it. And I was talking to my girlfriend and I was so focused on the 25%, Mike. In my mind, the only thing I was focused on was how was I going to get the 25% of the people to understand that I was the right person, that I was the right choice, that they would just give me, little old me, a chance. I would show them what we could do. And she said, why do you so easily let people throw shade on your shine? I said, huh? She said, why do you let people throw shade on your shine? I picked up what she was putting down. I'm leaving here today. I ask you to do one thing. Don't say that you ain't never had access to an opportunity. I ran for mayor to do exactly what this is. This is why I ran for mayor, to make sure that I could incentivize this kind of activity. No hookups. I don't do hookups. Right? Because you earn. That's a powerful tool. Something about the dignity it gives you. Head up, shoulders back. I don't owe you a thing. I worked for it. I earned it. That does something for a man and for a woman. Right? So, if you remember nothing that I've said today, promise me that you will never allow anybody to throw shade on your shine. As a matter of fact, I'm Black, I'm Baptist, I'm a teacher. Help me with this. Repeat after me. Say, don't throw shade.
Don't throw shade.
They sleeping. You got to do that. Repeat after me. Don't throw shade.
Don't throw shade.
On my shine.
On my shine.
When you share, be careful about who you share the vision with or the experience with. And if you do share it with somebody who's going to be motivated, inspired, and encouraged to be a participant in this for next year. Go vote on November the 7th if you haven't, and you better vote for me or I stop.